Alright, so I brought you guys in nice and close so that we can do the demo. So I have the palette right here in front of me. You guys just saw all the shades being swatched and everything. So let's get into the application and kind of tutorial demo part of this video. So I'm just gonna start by kind of setting my lid. I'm gonna take the shade Tempera right here and just kind of pack this all over the lid. This is, at least for my skin tone, a perfect shade to kind of set any concealer or anything. Just letting you guys know that I didn't prime my eyelids. I rarely ever prime my eyelids, so I just decided not to as well today since it's not something I do on a regular basis. I always try to get the actual performance of the eyeshadow palette with just the palette. I never really prime my eyelids. I just put concealer and powder on, so that's what I did today as well. And then I'm going to take a flat brush and going into Tempera again, and we're going to highlight the brow bone with this shade. I absolutely love this shade right here. I think it's such a necessary shade to have in a palette. I think it's perfect for highlighting the brow bone. It has a tiny bit of a sheen to it, which is nice because it's not flat matte, so it looks really good on the eyes. I'm going to dip into the shade Orange Soda and Burnt Orange and mix these together. As you can see, there is some kind of kickback into the palette, but honestly for me that doesn't really matter. I'm not really affected by kickback. As long as there's no fallout under my eye, I'm fine because I always just tap off my brush. But be aware of that if that is something that bothers you. As you can see, that blended out really, really nicely. Great transition shade right there. Now I'm going to go into the shade Sienna and Rustic. I always love mixing these two shades. It creates the perfect like kind of matte transition crease outer corner shade. So I'm just building this out on the outer corner and then fluffing it into my crease. This will really warm up the look, and as you can see, again, it's doing a really great job at blending. And then I'm gonna go in with the same brush I used for my transition shade and just blend out the top there. Now I'm going to be dipping into Cypress Umber and Mulberry. I also love mixing these two shades when I want a brown look, but not too much brown, and I still want a bit of burgundy in there. So I'm just gonna tap into both those, tap off my brush so I don't get any of that fallout. And I'm really focusing this on the very outer corner of my eye. And just kind of using a tapping kind of motion for now. This is my favorite way to apply these darker shades. I think it works the best. I'm just taking a bit more of Mulberry, that burgundy shade, and using a bit more of this in the outer corner. Like so. As you can see, that does look a little unblended right now, so what I like to do is go into the shade Rustic with the crease brush I was using before and kind of blend this out. So with matte shades, you're always going to want to do a ton of blending, but I find this palette does make it pretty easy to blend. Now I actually want to make this look a little more of that red, so I'm going to take Mulberry, more of it, and just really pack this on the outer corner of my eye. And then with the Access product, I'm just going to run it slightly through the crease because we're getting that really smoked out look. And then I'm going to take the brush I initially started with and really blend all these edges out because we don't want these harsh lines. Alright, so now for my lid shade, I'm going to be taking the shade Bronze. And I'm actually going to be using this with my finger. I find these shades apply the best. So I'm going to apply with my finger on this side. And then once I'm done the crease shades on this side, I'm going to apply with a brush just so you guys can see the difference. So I'm just going to go on there with my finger. And as you can see, that applied very nicely. And then I'm going to take a bit of Fairy right here and kind of press this on right on top to kind of brighten it a little bit. Perfect. So now I'm just gonna take a brush here and blend as usually, and blend this color into the crease shades. Alright, so I'm gonna go do the transition shades on the other eye and I'll be right back. Alright, so now I'm going to apply that gold shade with just a brush. And as you can see, I have it on there on my brush. I'm just gonna go right onto the lid, and my brush is dry, by the way. I do always like to wet my shimmer shades, but for the purpose of this video, I do want to show you guys how these shades perform on their own. And just like I did on the other eye, I'm going to be taking the shade Fairy right here and putting that right on top. I am going to wet my brush now just so you guys can see kind of what it looks like when it is wet. So I'm just taking this Mario Badescu facial spray, giving my brush a good spritz, popping into that shade and hitting the eye just a tad. Gonna take a bit of Fairy too. And as you can see, that just brightened it up a little bit, made it a little more intense, which I personally really like. And then with a small little brush here, I'm actually gonna mix the brown and black just slightly, which I love that there's a black in this palette. I'm just gonna tap this right along that lash line. So I did do more of a smoky look today, but I really wanted to show you guys a bunch of these shades in the palette today. I'm just going to do my lower lash line now. So I'm just going to take the shade Burnt Orange. Then I'm going to take the shade Sienna and mix it with Rustic, just like I did on the top. I always think a lower lash line really brings a look together. I'm just going to take more Burnt Orange and really smoke out that lower lash line. And then I'm going to take the tiniest bit of Cypress Umber and Mulberry, the tiniest bit, and put this on the outer part. Now for my inner corner shade, I'm going to take the shade Glistening. It's like a light gold shade. And pop that onto the inner corner and kind of bring it into my lower lash line as well. I'm going to add a tiny bit of that on the brow bone as well, just add a bit of shimmer. Alright, so I'm going to go do the rest of my eyes, lashes, everything like that, and I'll be right back to talk about the actual formula and everything else you guys need to know about this palette. Alright, so I'm back and I just applied some Ardell Glamour lashes, and this is kind of the finished look. It is kind of smoky and stuff, but it still has those earthy natural tones to it, which I really do enjoy. So as you guys could see when I was applying these eyeshadows, all of them were blending out very nicely, which is something I initially loved about this palette. I think it does a great job at applying, making it very easy to actually apply to your lid and get a really nice look. Also, the fact that you get this nice creamy matte white is really nice because you can highlight the brow bone with this, you can set the eyes with this. I just think it's an all-around really useful shade. You get some nice transition shades, some deeper matte shades to deepen out the outer corner, and then obviously you get a black, which is amazing. I always love when palettes at least have a black or brown in them, and this one has both, which is awesome. And then for the shimmers, you do get some versatility. You get some lighter shades that you can use either in the inner corner or all over your lid if you want a lighter lid shade. And then you also have these darker shimmers, which I think are beautiful up here, and I love them. And you guys got to see these shades in the swatches and everything, and got to see how they really look on my arm and everything. I do want to show you guys the palette compared to Anastasia's previous launches. So we have Modern Renaissance here, which is well loved by me, and I will show you guys some similarities with this one. So in both palettes, Soft Glam's here and Modern Renaissance is here. In both of them, you get that creamy white shade at the top, Tempera, so just be aware of that you do get both in each palette. So if you already have this one, just be aware that you will get the same shade in this one. You also get Cypress Umber in this one as well, and you also have it in Modern Renaissance here. And then you have Burnt Orange in both of them right here. So Burnt Orange is right here, and then Burnt Orange is also down here in Soft Glam. I do think that these palettes are very different. If you're someone who has Modern Renaissance, this is definitely more cranberry, a little more orange, whereas this one you can create more neutral looks with. Of course, it still has those orange tones in it, but it's not as intense as this one, as you can see right here. So here's a little side-by-side comparison of them. If you guys were wondering which one you should get, if you already have one or the other, I think they're both worth it. Honestly, I have both, and I use both of them equally the same, and I love them both equally the same. So I do think they're worth it if you have one or the other. If you're someone who likes just more natural everyday looks, I definitely recommend Soft Glam more than Modern Renaissance, but they're both great palettes. And then compared to Subculture, these two don't really have anything in common. Subculture is its own like palette. So these are the two side by side, but as you guys can see, very, very different color combinations and everything, so you don't have to worry about any dupes within these ones. Now these shadows are very powdery, as you guys could see in the demo portion. You guys could see the kickback that was kind of in the pan, and as you guys can see from what I've used so far, there is some kickback within the pans of my eyeshadows, but I don't have any fallout under my eye. I didn't wipe anything away, and that's something that I really appreciate, so you don't have to worry about any shadow falling. I mean, if you are using these darker shades, maybe do your eyes first, but just make sure you're tapping off your brush before you go actually on the eye, and you shouldn't have problems with any fallout or anything like that. Now, the actual wear time of these shadows is really amazing. I apply these shadows in the morning when I get ready, and they last me the whole entire day. So if you are looking for a very, very long-lasting shadow, this is definitely the way to go. I'm really impressed by that, and that's something I love about Anastasia's shadows. You get 5 shimmers, and the rest of them are mattes, which I think is awesome. I think that's a good range of colors and a lot of different shades that you can play around with to create different looks. For me, on an everyday basis, I just like taking, you know, some of these matte warmer shades right here, putting some in my crease, and then I have a really nice, effortless, every single day kind of look. So that's really my thoughts, guys, on this palette. I hope this video kind of helped you guys out to see the shades in it, to see how they apply on the eyes, and kind of my thoughts on the whole palette and everything like that. I've been using this palette for about a month now, and I've honestly been using it almost every day because I really, really wanted to get a good idea on it before I reviewed it for you guys. And I did this video a little differently with doing a demo in it as well instead of just a review. So if you guys like that for eyeshadow palettes, let me know, and I will definitely do that for future ones as well. If you're looking for a high-end palette, this is definitely a way to go. I know it is a bit of a splurge since it's not the most inexpensive palette, but I highly recommend it if you are willing to spend around $50 for it, which I think is a pretty fair price for a high-end palette. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Surprisingly, like about 95% of the views I get are from people who aren't even subscribed to my channel, so I'd really, really appreciate if you guys subscribed. I have so many fun videos coming up, so please hit the subscribe button and also hit the little bell icon so that you guys get notified every single time I post. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.